Welcome back to CBS4K, and this is Battlestar Galactica Shattered Hopes. Sorry, I saw the S there. Alright, so this is basically a Battlestar Galactica part FTL, part turn-based thing. We're going to look at this, and we're going to look at the IGN special look at it. Don't worry, we're not taking their review, alright? We're not listening to their review. We're just going to look at what they the news they have about the game. And then after that, I'm probably going to look at the Steam page. Just like we're just going to have a nice little look at the entire, I wouldn't say press ducket, but just look, take a sneak peek at the game, if you will, with this trailer and with the IGN thing and the Steam page and yada yada. Now, without further ado, let's begin. Okay. Cylons 1. So this is going to be taking place after the Cylons defeat humanity in I want to say the second Cylon. Or is it the third or fourth? I'm not really too up on the new Battlestar Galactica canon. That's right, the new one. There's a one old one from the 70s or 80s or something like that. I knew that one a little bit better, but the new canon I can safely say is pretty good. I don't want to say too much negative about it, but it was pretty good. But in that one, I think there was multiple wars with the Cylons, and humanity only lost the last one. And that's where the story of Battlestar Galactica took place. So they're taking place right after humanity was defeated. There was another game. It was Battlestar Deadlock, where you played before humanity lost that one, and they were fighting the Cylons in an epic war to basically protect the 13 colonies. Survivors took the stars. Survivor. Yeah, the ships look okay. I'm not gonna say anything too positive about the ships. Okay, let's go take a look back at that. This is Admiral Adama. Analyze the video surveillance. Resolve. Okay, so you're basically like a multi-choice sort of thing, and you're still also doing like, okay, you got a shop, you have an R&D lab, you have security, you have a hangar. Okay, so you're basically looking at the ships in the hangar, I'm guessing. The R&D is the research quality, and so you're sort of like XCOM where you're doing your research in between missions. And the shop is where you buy things for your fleet. And security is probably just security. Okay, let's go back. Now, this is very interesting. You have named characters with traits. Are they random characters, or are they characters specific to this playthrough? Like, are they randomly generated? Essentially. So if they're either story generated or randomly generated, and assignable squad, timely repairs, evasion expert, assignable to a squad, a safety expert, choose your next trait for your VIP. Okay, so he is going to be a named character. Alright, let's look at this. Gunstar is on fire. Part of my team is investigating. The other half needs help. Okay, so there's a situation. The Nicolopian fleet status. Auxiliary systems. Okay. R&D labs for hangar. Okay. So There's a lot of things going on in this thing. Like a lot. There's a Capricorn. That Capricorn was a big name in the Battlestar Galactica franchise. I think it was the capital of the 13 colonies, if I'm not mistaken. So it's going to be sort of like a choose your own adventure style game with turn-based tactical combat in space. That's what I got from earlier dockets of it. Let's see some more. Dangerous content. Fight to survive. Okay, yeah, there's the turn-based. Like, well, no. That's like real-time combat. I was mistaken. No, but tactical pause. Okay. That is very interesting. Because the other one I mentioned, the Deadlock, it had turn-based sort of gameplay to it. But it was sort of like a weird combination of real-time and turn-based. Like, you would go a bit, you would plan out your turn, and then you would hit go, and the AI would plan out its turn, and it would go at the same time, so you would see what it would look like. And then there was like an after battle button where you saw the whole thing play out. That it's sort of like Phantom Brigade. If you play that game, you probably... If you don't know what it is, look at my channel. I'm sure there's probably a Phantom Brigade playlist on here somewhere. Okay, misses. Yeah. Alright, yeah, look at that. Okay, it looks like it looks pretty good. I don't want to say too much about it. So apparently you're gonna do an emergency jump, or you can do a jump, and that would probably emergency jump is probably dangerous, or you probably leave behind your squadrons. Both seem interesting. I'm actually curious to see how, hear more about it.
Battlestar Galactica has become one of the lost classics in the modern sci-fi canon.
Okay.
We live in an era of constant reinterpolation. New Star Wars serials churn from Disney every quarter, and Star Trek is consistently made flush with new content. But if you weren't watching television in the mid-2000s...
I noticed they didn't talk about the quality. I just like a little... There's a little thing I noticed there. I'm not saying nothing. I'm just saying I noticed they didn't mention the quality.
There's a good chance you completely missed this heady tale of survival and humanity that once dominated the discourse. And in that sense, Battlestar Galactica Scattered Hopes is the first breath of new life into the franchise in more than a decade. The game doesn't attempt to be the long-awaited expansion of the continuity, but from what I've played so far, it does make a valiant effort to replicate why people fell in love with this universe in the first place.
Hands-on preview. Let's see what you guys say.
Scattered Hopes is basically a turn-based roguelike, set in a galaxy that is especially apt for the genre. If you're unfamiliar with Battlestar Galactica, the story follows the last remnants of humanity that have had their galaxy-spanning empire wiped out by a superpowered fleet of sentient robots known as the Cylons.
Just so you know, in the original 80s or 70s version, the Cylons weren't created by humanity. They were created by lizard people. But in the new canon, they were created by the human race. I think that was a nice addition. Well, okay, here's my issue with the new canon. There is no aliens in it. There's just humanity versus the robots. It's kind of depressing to put a few aliens in it. Oh well.
With no home to return to, the survivors hurtle through space in a massive warship, the Galactica in question, in permanent transit, hoping to someday come across the fabled homeworld of Earth. Scattered Hopes essentially shrinks down this premise. Instead of trying to find a new Eden, you're piloting a couple of junkers that are attempting to track down the Galactica and join the convoy. As such, you'll spend much of your time in space shoring up all sorts of different logistical crises. Do we have enough fuel? Enough supplies? Is morale too low? Do our fighter ships need repairs? All those questions must be addressed before the Cylons appear on the horizon, launching an attack on your ragtag armada, which must be fended off while charging up a faster-than-light drive in order to jump to the next sector.
Okay, so it sounds like you're gonna have to play like a very risky game. Okay, we will hold them here, but if they attack the ship, we gotta get out of there before they do any real damage. So you send out your fighters, and you can have your fighters hold them off. But there could be a situation where you have to abandon your fighters, which would probably be a bad idea. But it might be the only option you have in certain situations, because you'll be hit so hard that you won't have any other way out besides abandoning your fighters while you escape. Sounds cold, but it might actually be the way out.
The action brings to mind FTL.
Yeah, it's very similar in FTL in that way. Your target. Well, I feel like FTL lets you target systems and target certain parts of the spaceship. It has much more of a tactical leaning in FTL. I feel like this has more of a strategic leaning, as you don't really have systems you pick. You just sort of like hit the button and let them do their thing. While in FTL, you have to have strategies and tactics, and you have to plan things out.
Greatest of all spacefaring roguelikes. Scattered Hopes oscillates between white-knuckle tension when the Cylons demonstrate their
you do have targeting.
Incredible force, but much of your time in this game will be oddly dulcet. Tech trees will be dutifully filled out with upgrades, providing...
Okay, alright. Fleet logistics, health, fleet health, okay. Okay, gain a new auxiliary system.
Time in this game will be oddly dulcet.
Okay, med bay, upgrade med bay, okay. First VIP kill is...
Trees will be dutifully filled out with upgrades, providing more fighters, better med bay...
Okay. I kind of like this. It's a nice, upgrade system. But again, it goes back to my strategic thinking over tactical thinking statement. There'll be a little bit of aiming, but you'll be mostly. I feel like you'll be mostly in the fleet screen doing stuff. So that might be a deal breaker for some people. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they will have more tactical stuff going on.
And tougher hull exteriors. Mm-hmm. Lonely travelers cross our paths and
VIP
join forces.
Mm-hmm.
Staff level up and develop new traits. This is all rendered in a beautiful semi-retro pixelated style. The ships look great, but I'm especially taken by the dank, gritty interiors.
Yeah, they look great. I do like the look of this entire thing. It looks good. It's trying to be exaggerated, but with kind of a muted sort of thing going on. It's sort of like Space Haven in a way, but less blocky and more smooth edges to it than Space Haven.
Slate gray hangar bay, the tech lab glowing with computer screens. Battlestar Galactica might be a dystopia, but it has also always been a spaceship I wanted to explore. Scattered Hopes captures that in spades. Even more importantly, Scattered Hopes does its best to...
It reminds me of Yes, Your Grace. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, it's basically where you play a king and you make decisions for your kingdom. And it's all leading into this big battle to protect your kingdom from this invading force.
inject some legitimate narrative tension into what is, ultimately, a procedurally generated adventure. For instance, at one point, you may be alerted by a lieutenant that the air filtration systems on your ship are on the fritz.
Yeah.
Once it's repaired, you have the choice of either reprimanding the workers who installed those faulty mechanisms or blame the underworld traders for providing bad materials. Your choice will alter your personal reputation with either of those factions.
Interesting. So you're dealing with factions within your ships, within your fleet. Let's call it that. I find that fascinating. I actually do like that. I am pro this. I'm pro this because it adds a new layer to the strategic level, and it adds new sort of thinking when you're in the tactical layer too. Because, well, it depends if they actually implement it the way I'm thinking they're implementing it, which is if you take damage to certain areas of the ship, or if you lose certain pilots, you could damage your reputation with the various people in, or if you give like promotions or focus on helping one group out, it sort of slows you down in a tactical situation. Like, for instance, if you don't help people who are in charge of the engine room, maybe you don't have as much power to play with, or if you piss off the people who are in charge of the guns, they might not like you later on. Like, it depends on the situation.
Are gameplay consequences at play, but they also add a splash of color to the run. An apt comparison might be Frostpunk.
I forgot about Frostpunk. How could I forget about Frostpunk? Frostpunk probably is the closest thing to this game. Yes, you are probably right. See that, IGN? You can do it. I knew you could. You made good analysis points. You were all sophisticated stuff. Good on you guys. Yeah, everyone, give them a round of applause. Come on, guys. Guys, come on. Give them a round of applause. They're probably not going to be this competent again for a while. So come on, just give them a round of applause. Okay.
Another game that melds horrific humanitarian catastrophes with nuts and bolts optimization. When the Cylons come, as they...
Okay, let's look at that back.
When the Cylon...
Okay, repair squadrons. Squadrons, assign VIPs and squadrons. It's in the hangar, level up squadrons. VIPs, upgrade the fleet in the R&D lab. Select civilian defense. Okay.
Come, as they always do, Scattered Hopes pivots from being a turn-based management sim into a straight-up real-time strategy game. Mm-hmm. The Onslaught almost mirrors a tower defense setup. You'll be fielding a small handful of fighters, ideally piloted by a curated selection of aces, who must fend off the assault for a specific amount of time. The Cylons all tend to make a beeline for the heart of the Armada, laying waste to your few civilian ships. So, expert captains will put their fighters in position to create something of a choke point, letting them mow down the Cylons upon entry. One of the few advantages we're given as players is knowledge of where the enemies are going to spawn from. However, what the Cylons lack in brains, they more than make up for in scale.
Yeah,
and the
I was about to say numbers. Good on you for scale.
deeper you get into a run, you'll start facing down some insurmountable odds. That's when the flagships come in. They're outfitted with both tactical heat-seeking missiles and board-clearing nukes that glitter in the void and vaporize everything within the blast radius. The action can get pretty technical and extremely overwhelming.
Okay, I like that. There is a lot going on in the tactical side of things. I thought they were just going to be doing strategic things, but no. This is going to be very tactical. I wonder if you can lose pilots or get them killed in this combat situation, or if you can suffer certain damages to your ships. That's very interesting.
Engagements can be won or lost if players are a split second late on an important maneuvering decision. When things get out of hand, Cylons can absolutely melt the health bars of your most important assets. Thankfully, Scattered Hopes does offer a real-time combat pause, letting you mete out orders deliberately without being constantly under fire. To play the game correctly, you'll likely be tapping that spacebar every other second. At the end of combat, you'll quickly scurry the fighters back to their docking ports and blast off to the next zone, with a collection of fresh bullet holes left in your hull. More crises will pop up, more repairs will need to be completed, and when the Cylons return, they will almost certainly be more dangerous than before.
Yeah.
The thing my time with Scattered Hopes seemed most eager to hammer home is that this is a difficult video game, beholden to plenty of good RNG, as roguelikes always are, but also your own management chops. Battlestar Galactica, after all, is a franchise all about doing just enough to stay alive for another day. Scattered Hopes is eager to honor that legacy. I'm hoping it can pull it off. For more on the latest upcoming games, don't miss our recent hands-on previews of
It looks very fascinating.
Resident Evil Requiem and The Blood of Dawnwalker. And for everything else in the world of video games, stick with IGN.
Yeah. Not bad, IGN. Okay, we could look at we'll look at the credits while I talk a little bit. Yeah, it looks solid. The tactical part and the strategic part look well melded together. I said well, not excellently melded together. I have to look at it a little bit closer for that. Because what is the consequence of bad things happening in the tactical event? Like, okay, for instance, if you lose a ship or one of your pilots gets killed or something bad happens in the tactical map, what is the consequence for the strategic layer? Also, if the strategic layer, if you made a few mistakes, if a few people die, not die, but a few, let's say, poorly managed resources in the strategic layer goes wrong, will that negatively affect you in the tactical missions where you're struggling to sort of survive against the Cylon assault? Will that cause you to have less nukes or less weapons in the following confrontation? All those are interesting ideas. Anyway, let's move on to the Steam page. Okay, I got a bit of a not live stream going there, but let's look at the video. Let's mute that. Okay, Battlestar Shadow Scroll, take the photo. Let's look at this. Deep fleet management, as you navigate different planets. Okay. Did I wishlist this yet? Yeah, let me just wishlist it. And no two runs are the same. Okay. You progress with discovering new ways to improve your brutal odds. Gunstar fleets. Okay, squadrons. A crucial method upgrades combined with a rich procedurally narrative design. Alright. The journey, okay. Intense space battles, Cylon fleets. Fight for survival, high risk tactical battles. Okay. Deep management. They're not mentioning anything to do with permadeath or anything to do with, like, anything too... Oh, wait, this is interesting. Including identify imposters that may already be among your ranks. They could be anywhere, be anyone. Okay, all right. Yes. Okay. All right, that's interesting. So you'll prioritize. So you'll be able to figure out if someone is a Cylon within your team. Within your fleet. If you find out who they are, you're going to space them like you put in the show. That adds an interesting wrinkle. They didn't mention that during the IGN. IGN, what the heck, man? Yeah, but to be fair, there was a lot to talk about. Allocating dwindling resources. That's always on board. Each crisis will push you to make hard choices. So I'm guessing that's what the security part was. we were trying to hunt down double agents within our ranks. So that will add a very interesting wrinkle to the game. All right. Well, if you guys like space stuff, then you can check out my Dawn of War 4 preview video I have up on the channel, all as well as my other Warhammer 40k previews to their upcoming games like Mechanicus 2 and what was the other one? It was Mechanicus 2 because it's like a slew. You are not without your choice. You are spoiled for choice coming up in the gaming when it comes to Warhammer 40k. Especially when it comes to the tactical area of it. But yeah. You'll have Mechanicus 2. You'll have Dawn of War 4. And you'll have another game. I forgot the name of it. Oh, it's gonna... My brain's no good. And Dark Heresy. Yes, from Owlcat Games. It just came. There it is. So, and and Dark Heresy. So yeah, you have a lot of choices for Warhammer 40k games coming up. And you have Battlestar Galactica. So you should have a ton of space tactical games that should keep you busy for quite some time. Well, let's see if they release. What's the release date for this? Q1 of next year, 2026. Okay. I don't think it'll be out that early. I'm not sure because they haven't really released anything else. They haven't released a demo. They haven't really released anything else. They just released these trailers. I think that that's very generous, but we shall see. Alright guys, thank you so much for stopping by. If you can hit the like button, subscribe button, it'll help this channel grow and it'll also get you better access to my content. And if you want to be alerted earlier when I put up something new, then hit the bell icon and let yourself get notified when I add something new to the channel. Thanks for stopping by. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.